Jen, you like to wear makeup, right?
That's true, I do.
So how do you think about makeup from a biblical perspective?
That is a good question. Keep watching to find out how Christians should think about makeup.
Hi, it's Alisa.
And Jen.
And welcome back to another video. As we said in the intro, today we're talking about makeup. This is a fun topic because there can be a lot of ways women use makeup and for different purposes. And there are a lot of views on the use of makeup as well. Is it okay to use? Is it not? How much makeup is okay? How much is too much?
We can get principles from scripture to help us think about makeup in a godly way. But first, we want to make it clear that makeup is not a sinful thing. We want our outward appearance to match the internal godliness. The character of the heart is ultimately what is pleasing to God, as it says in 1 Peter 3:3-4, which says, "Your adornment must not be merely external, braiding the hair and wearing gold jewelry or putting on dresses, but let it be the hidden person of the heart with the imperishable quality of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in the sight of God." Our physical beauty will fade, while our internal character will last for eternity. But because we want the external to match the internal, we can use makeup as a tool to help with that. Makeup in itself isn't a sinful or vain thing to do necessarily.
That's right. We don't want to view the Christian life as a list of do's and don'ts, but we still need to assess our heart behind our actions to ensure that we are doing things for the right reasons.
So, what is your motivation for wearing makeup? Ultimately, our motivation and reason to do anything is to glorify God. If we're wearing makeup for selfish reasons to draw attention to ourselves and away from God, then that's a wrong motivation. But we can wear makeup to draw attention to God as well. It can actually be used as a tool to enhance the beauty that God created in women.
While external adornment like makeup isn't inherently wrong, the priority and focus should always be on the internal or the heart, because the qualities of the heart are imperishable and are precious in the sight of God. If you have outward beauty but your heart is rotten, God isn't glorified. But the woman who has true internal beauty will use the external to reflect that internal beauty.
1 Timothy 2:9-10 says, "Likewise, I want women to adorn themselves with proper clothing, modestly and discreetly, not with braided hair and gold or pearls or costly garments, but rather by means of good works, as is proper for women making a claim to godliness." We can wear makeup to the glory of God when we have, as it says in the verse, proper clothing, modestly and discreetly. While the verse says clothing, the principle can also include any outer adornment like makeup.
We've actually talked about this verse in a previous video about the principle of modesty in clothing. In that video, we talked about how the word for modesty means reverent shame or humility. We ought to have a humble view of ourselves and a high view of God. So if you are curious, you can check it out in the description box below. This heart attitude of modesty will affect how we portray ourselves externally. And just like clothing, makeup is another external adornment. So this principle also will help us to view makeup in a God-honoring way.
We know that modesty is first and foremost a heart attitude of reverence. So there isn't a hard and fast rule for what is modest and what is immodest, because it's an attitude. What is considered modest has changed over the years. For example, just 100 years ago, women never wore pants. So to wear pants would be considered immodest. But in today's culture, pants have become a very normal thing. The list that Paul writes, braided hair, gold, pearls, and costly garments, are immodest clothing that were meant for that historical context. So there's no checklist for makeup or clothing that is modest, but there are principles to think about.
So to wear makeup in a modest way means that we aren't trying to get the attention of others for selfish reasons and detracting from giving God the attention or glory that He deserves. We also want to wear makeup discreetly. This doesn't mean that the only way to put on makeup is the natural, super subtle makeup. The word for discreet means soundness of mind or self-control. We'll need self-control to not give in to our fleshly desires and live for ourselves. So when we wear makeup, do we use it to bring attention to ourselves, to boost our own self-esteem, or do we use it humbly to point to God?
So you mentioned how we can enhance the beauty that God has made in women, and that makeup can point to God? What does that even look like?
Great question. You can use makeup to enhance different facial features. For example, you can conceal dark circles to look less tired and look more bright-eyed. You can use mascara to lengthen your lashes or add blush to make your cheeks look more rosy. This can enhance and point to your warmth and gentleness that God has created women to be.
That's right. I like to try out different eyeshadow colors or styles of eyeliner for a new look sometimes. I think makeup is a fun and artistic way to express yourself the way that God has given us creativity. And I don't wear it every day, but when I get the chance to, I do enjoy it.
Yeah, that's cool. So for me personally, makeup is something I usually only put on for fancy occasions. But when I do put it on, I prefer a more subtle look. So I tend to use shades of eyeshadow, blush, or lipstick that tend to match my skin tone. But again, I want to emphasize, what is the motivation behind why you're wearing the makeup? Any unbelieving woman can wear mascara to lengthen her lashes, but what's the motivation of the believer? If a woman is insecure about her dark circles, so they want to hide it, or if they want to attract a guy's attention by having luscious lashes, then that's not a godly motivation.
If you're feeling insecure about certain facial features, remember that your security is found in God and not man's approval. Your worth isn't determined by how you look, but by Christ's righteousness, which is eternally secure.
That's right. And if you're trying to win a guy over with your looks, remember that physical appearances are vanity and that God and a godly guy would look at the heart over the outer appearance, as it says in 1 Samuel 16:7. But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not look at his appearance or at the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For God sees not as man sees, for man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart."
Yes, what a neat truth to meditate on. You can also think about what is appropriate for the context. For example, if you're wearing makeup for a wedding or special event, it's appropriate to wear more glamorous makeup, so you can add eyeshadow, false lashes, and lipstick that won't distract or draw attention to yourself. However, when you're at church, it may be distracting to have really glittery, bold makeup.
Or when you're on stage. If you've ever performed in a play, people put on very heavy stage makeup. That would be an appropriate time to wear super heavy makeup, since people can't see your facial features very well without the makeup. So you can see that the amount of makeup that you wear depends on the context. There's not a single way to wear makeup because each context is different. It's important to think about what is appropriate for what occasion, and that will determine how much makeup you wear.
Right, that's a good point. Again, we don't want to make wearing makeup a legalistic thing. There are principles that guide how we think about makeup. Honestly, there's a lot more that we can talk about when it comes to makeup. But we hope that this video gave you some foundational principles to think rightly about wearing makeup. If this video was helpful for you, then please give us a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. And as always, stay captivated.
Zoom in on Jen's false lashes.
I know. No, it got me nervous for a second because my line was like...